So Jordan Peterson, or Jordan Peterson's agent, Jordan Peterson's assistant, maybe some Daily Wire person, I don't know. Somebody on the Jordan Peterson X account posted the following. Jordan says yesterday, July 15th, with regard to Judeo-Christian, the Ten Commandments are Jewish, the great stories of the Old Testament are Jewish, the Jews developed the idea of subsidiary as the alternative to tyranny and slavery, the Jews established the cultural preconditions for the rise of universal literacy, the fate of Israel at the hands of Islamists is the fate of the West. Basically, a very pro-Judeo-Christian, kind of like old boomer religious right talking point of incorporating Judaism and incorporating Jews into Christian branding and politics, with Jordan Peterson having this major platform, or again, whoever is on the account, utilizing that platform to promote this sort of message. Christian Twitter blows up. And the problem that we've seen over the last few years is plenty of Groyper-adjacent types, or those that have adopted sort of Christ is king, Catholic, authoritarian, theocratic positions, have moved the Overton window of what constitutes as Christian talking points in politics to be the norm on X. So you have sort of a Christian civil war going on right now. You have the trad cath, Groypers and Groyper-adjacent types arguing that Jesus was not a Jew, that Jesus was always Christian, and you have these other Christians that are incorporating Judaism into their theology argue the opposite. It's both groups arguing nonsensical gobbledygook, but regardless, they don't want us in the picture. They don't want normal, reasonable, secular people in the picture when it comes to all of this. So there's an individual named Jack Posobiec. Jack, I've actually known for a few years. He goes after Jordan Peterson on X, basically quote tweeting him saying, this is not what Christians believe. And quite honestly, if you have to give credit to the theocratic Catholic types for a second, I'm reminded of that one episode of Jubilee where this one atheist literally goes up to Jordan Peterson and says, you are nothing. When asking Jordan Peterson simple questions about his so-called faith or his so-called Christian promotions, asking him point blank if he actually believes in God or not. Simple, basic, but not in a way that's like contrary to Jordan Peterson's sophisticated language. Like Jordan Peterson has apparently had a private practice in the past. He can answer yes or no questions, right? If he's meant to be a great communicator, he can sort of do that. So I have some sympathy with our enemies, at least in their criticism of Jordan Peterson. This guy's an atheist. Or he's part of this sort of secular, intellectual, I'm holier than thou, but I'm not going to label myself faithist kind of blah, blah. But he's essentially a non-believer, okay? Let's agree on that. Let's agree on that with Jordan, please, okay? But then you got Jack Posobiec, someone who I've actually known in politics, countering Jordan. He's definitely adopted this sort of theocratic mindset, basically saying this is not what Christians believe. You go on his X account, you'll find him just all day going after the, I guess you could say, more Protestant opposition or more Catholic but pro-Jewish opposition in this whole fight. But Jack has, in my view, gotten radical on positions. I used to know Jack. And in 2020, when the day actually that Charlie Kirk wanted me to go on a show to debate me, when Charlie approached me at CPAC, you all know the story. I hang out at the Mike Cernovich after party back then in 2020 when I was still in college. Atheist for Liberty just premiered. And Jack and I actually got along. I thought he was actually kind of secular minded, even though he claims to sort of be this Christian, Catholic, evangelical type, whatever. Navy veteran, worked in intelligence. I thought he was actually kind of charming and smart. Even though I definitely knew we had some differences, whatever. And I told him about the Charlie Kirk potential debate, and he actually said, oh, don't shy away from any debate, don't shy away from criticism or discussion, definitely go on his show. I know Charlie's a great guy, okay? This is Jack Posobiec, a free speech hero, a free speech activist, showing the left who's boss, right? And I've gotten to know Jack in the months and years that followed too. He spoke at a bunch of conferences, free speech conferences that we sponsored at the time, and I played pool with him and his brother. I thought they were some pretty cool people that at least had sort of a friendship or a kinship to certain atheists that disagreed with them, but were still kind of cool on a personal level. So you would think that if an atheist who actually knows his material, actually knows his stuff, and actually knows him, responds to some of what Jack has been posting in this little Christian civil war on X, that, I don't know, he'd respond or he'd engage in some lighthearted banter with me. He shares on X, this is yesterday, he shares on X a graphic, basically, that some Christian posted, basically showing that Jesus is the center of everything, and that Jesus came before Christianity and Jesus came after Christianity, and therefore Jesus wasn't Jewish or whatever. Okay, I poked some fun at Jack. Okay, my account is nowhere as big as his. He has like 3-point-something million followers, and all I did was paste a graphic or paste the word "fake" in all caps diagonally over that graphic. You know what, Jack, the person who didn't want to shy away from any criticism, wanted me to debate Charlie Kirk. You know what Jack did? Jack blocked me. Jack blocked me. Somebody who has been on Air Force One with the President of the United States, who's been involved in reporting on policies that are impacting the country, right? He blocks me. And I was having some fun. I was posting a little bit on X earlier today saying, now Jack Posobiec blocked me on X after replying to his response to a Christian diagram. Guys going hard mode on other Christians, yet when an atheist, not poisoned with ideology, cuts through the noise, he suppresses further conversation. And I think this is sort of my conclusion on this, and I want you all to conclude this too. We got to get more of you on board with this position. Okay? I think people like Jack Posobiec, I think people like Nick Fuentes, I think people that are in this Christ is King, Roman Catholicism, we hate Americanism kind of boat, we like Franco kind of boat that they're in. They want to promote the narrative that we are all Christians there. That if you want to have a policy discussion, you must be Christian. You must be Christian, right? It's the inverse of 2020. It's the inverse of 2019. When I was in college, I took a foreign policy course, and Jack claims to be the expert on foreign policy as well. Or at least I think he does. And I remember being in a international relations class when I was an undergrad. And I was told that I couldn't have a foreign policy discussions when it comes to the use of nuclear weapons between superpowers in hypothetical scenarios because I'm a straight white male. Okay? It's the inverse of that now. It's if you are not a theocratic, anti-American, anti-freedom of expression, anti-everything our nation was built on kind of person, you know, having the Bible, holding it on your chest like you're some deep thinker, you're cast out. We don't want you. And if there's enough of us that are not poisoned by other ideologies and distractions that heap on into the conversation, that are even just snooty little reply guys to people like Jack, you're a problem. You're a threat. We can't have you. That's what's going on here. That's what's going on here. That's why I regret not getting into this and being a little more aggressive and having you all be a little more aggressive with me in the years prior. Oh, we love free speech. Woke bad. Islam bad. Okay, but theocracy, all kinds of theocracy bad too. My account doesn't even have 3,000 followers on it right now on X. My Sheedy Thomas Sheedy account. Okay? And Jack blocked me. Imagine if 10 of you did what I did. Imagine if only 100 of you did what I did. There's some momentum here. They don't want secularism. They don't want normalcy. They don't want reasonable, normal people to chime on in because it gets rid of their brand. Their stupid little astroturfed brand of Christianity right now. Okay? So wake up. Get on board. Get on the train. I'll paste some other screenshots in here too for the team to add in and all that to give nuance to the situation. But both sides of this little Christian pokey game, they don't want you. So inject yourself in there. Fight for an America that believes in reason. Fight for an America that's based off of the things that, not to sound like a boomer, the founders, which are very opposed to this kind of Vaticanoso kind of nonsense on X, what they would want, right? Us filthy Enlightenment degenerates. Get on board. Subscribe to this channel, guys. Get involved in the movement. Join the Discord server. Follow me. We have a fight. We have a long fight ahead of us. But we're going to win. We're going to win. And they know that. They know that, so they're trying to keep the grift and keep the distraction going for as long as humanly possible. Cut the line short. Get in the fight. See you later.